call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Kristen Cambenzi. Here. Glenn Sarka.
Here.
James Hewitt.
Here.
Jennifer Cliff.
Here.
Jennifer Ray.
Here.
Cheryl Maddox-Smith.
Here.
Jason Zadunik.
Here.
All right, and I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Support.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Zedidnik, support by Mr. Sarka. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to Cherry Creek Elementary School. Thank you Cherry Creek for hosting us. For the superintendent report, just a couple of items. I want to start off with inviting Mrs. Musco, Principal Musco, to the podium. She's going to give an update on the latest at Cherry Creek.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgwick, and thank you everyone for joining us here at Cherry Creek. There's so many things to share, so I'll try to keep it and try to funnel down what I thought would be the most important points. Number one, the who. It is the who. That's why we come to Cherry Creek each and every day. We have 430 students to love at Cherry Creek. This is a picture of our opening week assembly, welcoming the students back to school. They are beautiful children, and we are so lucky to have them here. And thank you to the board for everything you do to help us help them each and every day. We have 53 dedicated staff members. This is a picture of some of our crew. Last Friday, we connect with the MSHS Homecoming Week, and we do a Spirit Week here at Cherry Creek. We are the Cherry Creek Panthers, so we celebrate our Panther Pride on the Friday of Homecoming Week. So we took a little photo when we were all dressed up in our Panther gear. Beyond our students and our staff, I just have to say Cherry Creek has an incredibly supportive group of families. Our community partners are second to none, and an amazing parent association. I put these pictures on the slide. This year, our back to school Meet the Teacher open house night, we kind of ticked it up a notch by inviting community partners. We had music in the back. Our parent group set up family games, so we had not only meeting the teachers inside, but connecting our families together outside. We had folks out in the back. We had ice cream and snacks for the families and popcorn, and I invited our Chocolate Fire Department to come, so the kids were able to go onto the fire trucks and meet our fire volunteers. They join us for drills to give us feedback. They are a regular presence in our schools. Some of our parents are on our volunteer fire, our fire and rescue team here in Chocolate, so that's a really special thing. We also had our Chocolate police car there, and he was allowing the kids to get in. Our chief is a wonderful partner. So I can't say enough about the community that supports us at Cherry Creek. Fun fact, you may not know, but the Chocolate Township Police Department has worked with me since I became principal, and we've just grown together. Now we have officers here from Chocolate every morning at arrival, and we have officers here every day at dismissal. They go above and beyond. Our officers actually had playing cards this year made up with their photos and information, fun things that they hand out to the kids. They're always bringing little items to share, and so that's just amazing. This is some books that were donated to our library by the CCSA. I wanted to, if you didn't notice on your way in, we have a book vending machine. Our parent group supports the filling of that vending machine throughout the year. Every student at Cherry Creek receives a birthday book on their birthday or their half birthday, which is a really special thing, and then we can use them for incentives for positive behavior or big accomplishments. They get a golden coin to visit the book vending machine. Cherry Creek, our guidelines for success, the things that we're looking for our student in looking for in our students and our staff are the 4 Bs, is how we refer to them. Be safe, be respectful, be responsible, and be positive. That's what we want to look for in our school, but we also encourage our students to know that these are the things that will make them the citizens that we hope them to be as they grow into our neighbors, adult neighbors. A few highlights, I just have to say 24-25 is off to a great start at Cherry Creek. I have some amazing teachers with us, our kindergarten, 3rd grade, and 4th grade teacher, and I think they would nod their head and agree that there is a tremendous amount of energy and collaboration in the building, and I just know that if this is what the first month looks like, I can't wait to get to June and be able to turn around and look at what the year has been for us, because we have done so many things already. We started with a theme, and it's kind of grown organically. One of our 1st grade teachers read a book this summer called Be the Sun, Not the Salt. Actually, Mrs. Weiger, who's with us, taught our staff the word heliotropic as a vocabulary word to kick off the year. And what that means is to turning or growing toward the light, and how that is what biologically happens. And it's not with just the flowers in our windows, it's with us as people. And so when we can be the light for each other and for our students, that growing can really occur. And it was just something that I wish you could have been with us to feel what it felt like. And I think that energy is carried on through this first month. We're actually having these t-shirts printed for our staff, Be the Sun, and with the goal of we love our kids, that they're not your students or my students, they're really our kids together. And so our staff will be receiving these t-shirts sometime in the next week. My husband's business actually purchased them for us, and I think that just says another thing about community, that we really have that here, and it's just growing. I thought I'd take the opportunity to thank the board for your continued support of our professional learning. We know that it's not necessarily the resources we put in front of the kids, it's the adults that are teaching those children. And when you give us the opportunity to grow and learn together, that's where that impact comes. So we kicked off the year with Safe and Civil Schools. This book was one that I received from the administrative professional learning in June. I told the teacher, and this is teachers, it's no lie, by June 20th, I couldn't wait to open the doors for the school year, because this book was so inspiring, and the learning that we had in June was so inspiring. So thank you, and just, we appreciate it so much. It's giving me guidance as an administrator, and I think that that I can work to inspire our staff and our team to carry this work forward. We've actually put together a behavior leadership team at Cherry Creek, and we're already in motion. Our team is it's like democracy. We have team members that represent each and every staff member at Cherry Creek, and so when we bring things when we're working together at this committee, we're coming to the table with the feedback from every single staff member in the building. It is not just about top-down decision-making. We really get the information from our staff, bring it to the table, discuss. We just passed our first proposal, and I believe the reason we passed it is because we started with that feedback from staff first. And so this team volunteers 30 minutes every Monday morning of their time to come to the table, and countless minutes after hours. So this is just something that I'm excited to see grow throughout the school year. We have a voting system, 5 levels of satisfaction. So when we take those proposals to our staff, we have that final vote before we adopt something and put it into our school-wide behavior plan. So more to come on that, I'll be happy to share as we grow. So this is a picture that I shared with our staff at a recent staff meeting, and I thought I'd share it with you because really pictures capture everything. Safe and Civil Schools has taught us the acronym STOIC, And part of that is, the S is structure. And so even our school librarian has structured the first visit, these are kindergartners coming to the library for the first time. And she's structured that visit with such intentionality. She stops them at the door, shares an expectation. They're practicing out in the hallway so that when they enter this exciting space, they are ready to be successful. And these things come from that learning. So I could go on and on. I'll say thank you to Mr. Sedgwick for supporting us through the work that was done to receive these grant monies for safety. We have a PA system at Cherry Creek. Our building is 31 years old, and this has been a desire probably from those first days, that we have a communication system that goes throughout the building. I put this picture on because I want you to know it's not only those devices over there on the wall where our clock is, that's our speaker PA, emergency alert system, but we also have 7 speakers outdoors. And so no matter where our children are and our staff is, they can get that notification as needed. So it's very exciting. We're continuing to learn how we'll utilize that day-to-day life, but I know we've been doing our drills and using the alert system, and it's been pretty fabulous. Last big thing I want to share about Cherry Creek 24-25 is that we are embarking on the outdoor learning spaces project, playground expansion. Our building is 31 years old, which isn't that old, but the playground is getting a little tired. It's outdated, and we just have this beautiful land at Cherry Creek to develop. And so our committee has a few teachers, George Meister, who works with GEI, he's also a parent here, and our parent group president. And we started by that same concept, getting feedback from everybody to get what our staff ideas were. And then we brought it to the children because they're going to be the ones out there. And so these are images of the voting process that kids have made. We color-coded stickers between our oldest students and youngest students to find out what is it that sparks their interest and what would they desire to have on their outdoor spaces. And so this is I just wanted to share that process. Four big themes emerged from teacher feedback, and then we took samples to share with students. So they started voting even at open house. So that will be exciting to watch unfold, and hopefully we can break ground on some changes and updates this coming summer. I'm going to end with this picture. This was at our Fun Run, which is an annual event sponsored by our parent group. Students run laps. They don't do it to earn anything. It's literally for fun. Although the winner does get to play around a squirrel ball with me, which is dodgeball, with me dressed up as a giant squirrel. Super motivating. Anything for the children. But this is Mrs. Weiker's class. I'm so glad you're here, Mrs. Weiker. And this was before they got ready to run. And they put their hands in the circle and they did their little go 3W. What was your cheer?
Yeah.
I don't know, I just happened to be, I was right there. And I just thought this picture captures how the children were feeling that day, but I really feel that this could symbolize how we feel as a staff. I go for evening walks and I told my husband, I feel like we could do anything. And I really do. I feel like Cherry Creek is going to set such a high bar, and it's not because of me, it's because of our team. Our whole school family is just incredibly strong, and I feel like I have watched folks in these first weeks of school come together to solve little problems, big problems, and encourage one another through hard and encourage each other through the good. And I know that ultimately is because you're supporting us. So thank you. Thanks for visiting Cherry Creek. Come anytime. We have lots to share. Thank you. That's all.
Hold on just a second, Mrs. Musco, just in case anybody have any questions for Mrs. Musco.
If you want to see any detailed pictures, I did put our voting system over there. So as you're leaving tonight, if you want to see what our kids want, there it is. Thank you.
Great job, thank you very much. Okay, just one other thing under the superintendent's report, and that is the annual snow ice removal bids. And you have more information in your packets. This is fairly cut and dry, I think. If you look at the bids, you'll see in some cases, in many cases, prices that are competitive, actually less than last year. And I believe that is in part because we had a mild winter, so the contractors that did bid were, I think, fair. So if there's questions, I do have our Auxiliary Services Director, Mr. Lloyd Vanderscaff here. I don't know, Lloyd, if you want to come to the podium, it's up to you. That kind of, I guess, provokes questions sometimes. So, if you have any questions, myself or Mr. Vanderscaff would be glad to answer them. I thought I introduced you at a board meeting. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is our new Auxiliary Services Director, Lloyd Vanderscaff. And Lloyd comes with some pretty impressive credentials, an electrical engineer. He's a lieutenant commander in the Navy Reserves, has been a long time Navy, what was you were an officer?
Yes,
you were
pilot.
Pilot, yep. So he picked up on transportation pretty easily. He's now also a certified bus driver. So he's dove in into transportation and facilities, quite honestly. My plan was to roll over facilities a little more slowly since I knew transportation would be a heavy lift. And he was fortunate to have our previous transportation director, Mrs. Deborah Fury, with him for about a month. And she was very, very generous as to delay her retirement so she could have some time with Mr. Vanderscaff before she retired. So she has since retired officially, and now Mr. Vanderscaff has taken over and he's hit the ground running. So again, there's your introduction, second introduction, but a little bit about Mr. Vanderscaff. Back to the snow plow or the snow ice removal bids. Any questions for us?
Is there any concern between either of the bids that are proposed, that any history of any concerns getting the work done in a timely manner?
I think I'm always concerned about whether or not we're going to be able to keep up with the snow removal. Since you asked the question, I would say I would prefer to have had more than 2 bidders. We did have a third bidder who turned it in after the bid opening, so we were unable to include them. And fortunately, I feel like it's spread out between the 2 bidders. We didn't have one contractor take all the buildings, which would have been much more concerning. So the fact that we have it divided amongst 2 contractors does address my concerns, but we haven't worked with one of the 2 contractors in a couple of years, so that there's gonna be some nuance there, bringing them back online. And the value is that at this point, both contractors, we have worked with both contractors, they are aware of what they're getting into, but who knows what winter is gonna throw at us. So that always is a variable that presents some concerns. Mr. Vanderscaff, anything you wanna add?
I think, like Zach alluded to, one of the contractors knew they're doing bid on 3, and the only bid on the high school and the bus garage, top and bottom there. Like you said, the split between the 2, if we just go with kind of the lowest bid and only bid on a couple instances of it, I think it makes a lot of sense. Also, I did my quick calculator phone math. It looks like we're about $2,230 less year over year, so that's always a good thing.
First time in a few years I've heard that.
Agreed. Any other questions about snow ice removal bids? We are early enough, I think, this year that we can get ahead of it, whatever weather might be coming, and that feels good. And I think that's in large part due to the fact that we're bringing on Mr. Vanderscaff, and we once again have somebody that's assisting with facilities. So just maybe an omen of success for us, or turning a corner, having some additional support in place to help us with our facilities, which is a great responsibility in a school district our size. So I think you're all set, Mr. Vanderscaff, and unless the board has any other questions for me, I will turn it back over to President Cambenzi.
Thank you. All right, moving on to approving the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the regular meeting of September 16th, 2024, and the minutes of the closed session of September 16th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Zadunik, support by Mrs. Klipp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to comments from the public. I don't believe we have any. So moving on next to new business. 8A, consider snow removal bid awards. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the snow removal bids that are in our board packet.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, support by Mr. Zadunik. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Consider naming United Way of Market County a charitable solicitation organization for the 2024-2025. And I believe this is something we do every year. Sorry.
Can we just get a little bit of background on exactly what that is? What that means, I can generally understand, but just want to double check.
I wish I had a microphone in front of Mrs. Hopper, because she knows this better than I do, but every year we designate certain charitable organizations, which allows us a little bit more leeway in gathering and donating on behalf of Marquette Area Public Schools to those organizations. And I believe we've used the United Way for a long time. So I don't think there's anything that prevents us from designating other charitable organizations for this purpose, but United Way is certain.
We had board policy that was up to 3.
Okay.
Yeah, we've only ever had this recommendation.
But we've only ever had the United Way recommendation. It's been a past practice of ours, yes.
And employees can set up direct withholding right out of their paycheck is what it allows them to do.
That's what it really is.
Thank you.
I would make a motion to name the United Way of Market County Charitable Solicitation Organization for 2024-2025.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Sarka, support by Mr. Hewitt. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Gifts and requests. Graybright Elementary School received a $5,000 grant after being selected by Fox Marquette Subaru through Adopt a Classroom organization as part of the Subaru's nationwide initiative, Subaru Loves Learning. And moving on now to board member comments. We'll start with Mrs. Maddox-Smith.
I just wanted to thank Mrs. Musko for the great presentation. I loved everything you said, every single thing. The book vending machine, oh my gosh, I would have loved to have that as a kid, as an adult. Yeah, and the heliotropic, that is just such a great concept, such a great word. Thank you for all you're doing here. Just glad to be part of such a great community that supports our schools. Thank you.
Ms. Ray?
Reiterating, just, thank you for the presentation. It's, great to come to each school every year and sort of see what is happening inside the walls, and really appreciate the presentation. clearly there's a lot going on, so it's really exciting. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Mr. Zdenek.
Well, based on the pictures for the playground equipment, I'm aging myself a little bit. We didn't have anything that cool. This was a little bit different. Yeah, I just wanted to echo the comments previously made to the staff and to yourself, Chair, and the Cherry Creek staff for hosting this event. And thank you to Fox Marquette Subaru for the donation. It's very generous. Thank you.
Mrs. Clip.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to Fox Subaru for donating $5,000 for their Subaru Loves Learning initiative. Excuse me. Great that we have local businesses supporting our schools, particularly to the tune of $5,000. That's not small change. And excuse me, to the staff here at Cherry Creek. You know, we talk a lot about academics, and that can be very prescriptive, and we know best practice, and we're always in the process of learning that and closing those gaps. But what you all are doing is creating culture, and that can be a mystery, a little bit more mysterious, and in a lot of ways, a lot more difficult. So digging in on that work, digging in on a learning culture, digging in on a culture where kids come, and staff comes, and custodial comes, and everybody is involved in decision making. Everybody feels included in the environment. You know, the research is crystal clear. If kids don't feel part of a school, their academics suffer first. And so it really is in tandem. And I am so happy to see you guys doing this, digging in on this. And just thank you, because it is a lot of work, I know. So kudos to all of you guys. Just wonderful. Thank you.
Mr. Hewitt.
Yeah, once again, thanks for having us here. We really get to see all the special things that every building can do in our district, and happy to see yet another shining example that we're providing to our students. So appreciate it. Nothing further.
Mr. Sarka.
Thank you. This is always the hardest meeting of the year because on a beautiful day like this with the clouds and the blue skies, we're reminded that the snow is coming and we're going to have to spend money on sand, basically, to keep everybody safe. So that's always an eye-opener. It's always great to come to an elementary school. You really can feel the culture when you come into the building. You can see it in your faces when you talk about what you're building here. It's also fun because the chairs are small. You feel like a giant when you walk into the building. And we were talking about the beginning of last year. I came within the first week of school, and you kind of forget all the memories you built as an elementary school student. And I remember I was a Silver Creek kid, and Mr. Zdenek, you had a lot better playground equipment. I think we got rocks to bang together when I was going to school, if we were lucky. That's when somebody donated money to our playground. But just walking through the hallway, you could close your eyes, and the smells just reminded you of being in elementary school, and all those lessons you learned, all the time you spent in the building with Boy Scouts and, you know, 5th grade Bay Cliff and everything. And it's great to know that spirit's still alive in Cherry Creek. That was there at Silver Creek. And again, we're just lucky. We've got a community that supports education, and not every community has that. So we're very grateful. We'd just like to thank Fox, Marquette, and Subaru, because Subaru does love learning. Other than that, thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you. Board President comments. This is my favorite time of year, is when we get to come to the different schools and just kind of see what you guys have going on. And, you know, kudos to you guys for everything. Just very appreciative of the work that you do every day and for being there for our students and our community. So moving on to announcements and other meetings. October 14th and 15th, so next Monday and Tuesday, PD Day, no school for students. And October 21st, 2024, board meeting at Superior Hills at 5:30. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Zedunick, support by Mr. Hewitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes. We're adjourned.